Alright, so welcome to Module 1. This module is to give you an overview of the technical trainings that you're going to see down below. And this module, we're going to focus in on selecting a single target market and building your community. So here's what we're going to cover. Core mindset, finding your niche, naming your brand, creating your community, and graphics and branding. So let's start with core mindset. There's three main ideas that we want to keep in mind as we're developing our name and developing our product and brand. The first one is that we want to create a MVP. And MVP stands for minimal viable product. Now that's fancy startup language for basically saying the leanest or most basic bare bones product that someone would be willing to exchange their hard-earned money for in return for our value. And the reason we want to build it that way is that we want to avoid waste. We don't want to build anything that people don't want. So we don't want to invest any energy in creating brands or names or products that ultimately people won't buy. By doing it this way, we can quickly figure out if this product idea will work or if it won't. And then if it won't, we can quickly test another one. So we can do things much faster. So the core idea here is that we want to create version 1.0 and that done is better than perfect. So we're not trying to reach perfection here. We're just trying to create something that's basic that people want to buy. The next idea is that we want to sell to buyers, which means we want to plug into existing markets and we want to sell to people who are already looking to buy. So we're not trying to convince anybody to buy something that they're not already looking for. We're trying to compel them to buy something that is kind of already in their back of their mind. The next idea is that we want to build a community first. And the reason for this is it allows us to quickly iterate and listen to our audience, and they can tell us what they want. They could tell us what they like. They could tell us if they like a name or they like a brand or if they don't. By doing it this way, by building a community first, we can iterate. We can figure out what's working, what's not, and improve. Without a community, we don't have that opportunity. So community allows us to quickly build our product. So next, let's talk a little bit about finding your niche. So what is a niche? Well, we can think of a niche in terms of 4 buckets, right? So there's categories, markets, niches, and sub-niches. And probably the best way to understand this is via an example. So fitness is a category, women's fitness is a market, yoga for women is a niche, and complete prenatal vinyasa yoga is a sub-niche. So really what we want to do is focus in on the sub-niche level. And the reason why is that it makes it much easier to buy ads and target people that are our ideal customers. So in other words, it's easier to sell. We get better results for our customers because we're able to buy traffic or buy advertising and have that advertising work for us in a much more effective way. Not only that, but we could charge more because we're solving a very specific problem for a very specific niche. Not only that, but it allows us to be number one or a market leader. Now this is very important because if you think about the products or services that you buy, you probably tend to go with the number 1 or number 2 in a particular market or market segment. So people love to buy number 1 or number 2 leaders. And oftentimes people don't really know who's number 3, right? So we want to buy from the best essentially. And by selecting a sub-niche, we can position our brand or our name as the market leader, right? So in fitness, it's probably very difficult to impossible to be number 1 in fitness, right? That position in the market's already taken. Women's fitness, same thing. Yoga for women, probably somebody owns that. Complete prenatal vinyasa yoga, there's probably number 1, but we can have a chance at that. We could have a chance to be number 1 or number 2. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about naming your brand. So your product name. Your product name, some quick ideas about how to name is it's always helpful if it rhymes or implies a benefit or result. Another useful thing is if you add a system or process or step-by-step at the end of your product, because really people are looking for systems, right? With this product, the product that you're consuming here right now, it's a system, right? You go through step by step and you get a exact result. So people are looking for systems. If you can add that to your name, it implies it's more of a complete solution. And the big thing here is that you don't want to get stuck overthinking your name. You could always change it later. It's not something that's forever. You need to have something to start, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I just encourage you to avoid the naming trap. And I'm going to show you in the technical videos down below some quick naming hacks that we can quickly come up with a great name without really stressing too much about it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about creating your community. So, like I said before, some of the advantages of creating your community is that we can generate testimonials, right, and build social proof for our product even before it exists. So what will happen is when you have your community in place, when you start to get your first community members, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. People are going to start reporting their successes. And that's going to be a form of what's known as social proof that people are using your program and they're getting results. Not only that, you can create exactly what they want. If you create something, your members are going to let you know if something's missing, right? If they need, let's say they need a template, or they need a script, or they need some graphics, any type of templates or things like that. So people in your community are going to let you know what's missing and what they like the best. So your goal with your community is to create your first 25 members, or to get your first 25 members in the community. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in the technical trainings. Now, another benefit is that you're going to find weaknesses and fix them early. And also you're going to prevent empty restaurant syndrome, which is eventually when people are buying your products, you want to have a community that goes with your product. And the last thing that you want is somebody to buy your product and then join the community and realize that there's not many people there and there's not much stuff going on, because that lets them know that their decision was a poor one. In other words, there's not a lot of people buying your stuff. So by building our community first, we let others know that, hey, there's already a community in place here. There's already people that are using this. And it's a form of social proof that they've made the right decision by investing in your product. And lastly, you'll be able to create a product that sells itself, because you would have addressed all the flaws or all the missing kind of things that people wanted. So that's a little bit about creating your community. So let's talk a little bit about graphics and branding. Once you have a community, you can invest in your brand, your logo, your graphics. And what I would encourage you to do is hold off on the branding and the fancy graphics for now. If you want, you could skip down to the module on graphics and branding and just go straight into that and build your brand. But for now, if you're just getting started and you're not sure if this product idea will work, I would encourage you to build a community first, because that way you can present them some ideas. Like if you go to 99designs.com and you get a bunch of submissions for creating your brand, you could post them up in your community and have your members vote on them, and they'll tell you which ones they like the best. So in this module, we just covered core mindset, finding your niche, naming your brand, and creating your community, and a little bit about graphics and branding, which is my advice is just to hold off on that for now. If you want, you can skip down to the graphics and branding section and get started with that. And now proceed to the technical trainings down below, where I'll show you exactly what to do to get your community started and take the next step. So I'll see you in those videos.